All right, so two elves are in a battle over wrapping paper, but they won't budge, so that means that they're not moving. The left elf weighs 400 newtons and the right elf has a mass of 35 kilograms. So once again, we're going to turn this into its weight, which is the force of gravity is equal to mass times the gravitational field strength of 10 newtons per kilogram. So it's going to be 350 newtons. And we get that by multiplying 35 times 10. So now this one, we're going to say that this elf, so that's the left elf, is interacting with the wrapping paper, and the right elf is interacting with the wrapping paper. The left elf and the right elf are not interacting with each other. Okay, so the right elf is interacting with the floor, the left elf is interacting with the floor, and they're both interacting with the earth. All right, so we're going to draw a force diagram for each elf. We'll start with the left elf, okay? And it is being pulled down by the earth. At 400 newtons. And it is being pushed up by the floor, so being pushed up by the floor at also 400 newtons. Now the wrapping paper is being pulled by the left elf, and the wrapping paper is also pulling back on the left elf. So as the left elf is pulling the wrapping paper this way, the wrapping paper is pulling the elf the other way. So it's going this way, and it's a tension force because it's a pulling action on the left elf by the wrapping paper, and they're each pulling it at 200 newtons. Okay, so the left elf is pulling it at 200 newtons. And so then the force of friction is preventing the elf from falling over. Okay, and that's coming from the floor. All right, so that's for the left elf. And then for the right elf, okay, it's being pulled down by the floor, or by the earth. Force of gravity on the right elf by the earth is happening at 350 kilograms, or newtons. And it's being pushed up by the floor at also 350 newtons. So it's being pushed up by the floor at 350 newtons. Now, because the left elf is pulling with 200 newtons force, we're going to go ahead and assume that the wrapping paper, which is pulling the left elf this way, is also pulling the right elf this way at the same force. So the force of tension on the right elf by the wrapping paper is happening at 200 newtons. And here you have the force of the friction on the right elf from the floor is also happening at 200 newtons. There isn't any Newton's third law pairs because we didn't draw a diagram with the earth, the floor, or the wrapping paper.